We've gone on this pod way too long without bringing up Jokic. 104 points in 2 games.
Listen. Let's close it with this. It's getting harder and harder to justify. You said it last night, Pausha, and it's pretty much the best way put. We're just going to put this out there, and it's the truth. There's Nikola, and then there's like 20 feet, and then there's the second best player in the NBA. That's how big of the gap it is right now. You have Nikola out in front. In terms of a race, he's like a lap ahead of everyone else. If they were all running a race, a mile race, he'd be on lap 3. Everyone else is like on lap 2. He's just that far ahead of everyone else. He's like 20. I mean, it's like, if I had to go top 5 right now in the NBA, right now, and I'm not being biased. These are just based off of now, the past couple of years. I take a past couple of years in effect, age, and where I think they'll be at in the future. I'm taking all of that into account. Nikola's here. You got to truck through a lot of mush. And then you get to the second guy.
Which is?
Giannis would be the second best player in the NBA. He's just the most dominant every night. You can't argue it, right? Historically, and I say historically, previously, recently, that third guy would be Joel. The past couple of years, if you're going the past 2 or 3 years, Joel Embiid would be arguably 2 or 3.
The only argument there would be Luka and now SGA and Tatum.
Yes, but if you're talking the last 2-3 years,
Joel
Embiid's been the most dominant player of all that group. That's been the 3 guys. It's been Joel Embiid, it's been Nikola, and it's been Giannis. It's been like those 3 every year. The past 5 years, man, it's been like one of those 3 wins an MVP. So I'm putting Nikola and Giannis still 1-2. Nikola's out in front by a mile. Then you got Giannis. Then previously I'd put Joel. As of right now, I'm going Tatum just due to the team success. I know he has a really good team, but listen, he doesn't get in the way of that. He only helps. He's the best player on the best team. He's only elevated his game from last year. You could put Luka third if we're talking pure skill for talent, IQ, knows how to play. I think Luka's the baddest guard on the planet with the ball in his hands. Is his conditioning in question sometimes? Sure. Is his style of play maybe too much where he over dribbles and it's counterproductive? Sure, but you can say the same thing about.
That's a tricky Tatum over Luka.
I would put Luka third. I just said that. I was putting Tatum there just because they win and he has a really good team and he's a winner and all these things. But like, if we're going just pure player to player, Luka's the third best player in the planet. Done. All right, we'll put Luka 3. 4, I'd go Tatum. 5, I'm going Shea. Those are the 5 best players right now in the NBA. Right now, if we're going over the cumulative of the past couple of years, Joel has to be somewhere in there. He's won an MVP and he almost won another one last year. You just can't call it just because this year is looking a little weird and everything's not great over there in Philly, although they all are back last night. Hit his first game back last night after some time off, just put out a casual 31-10.
How could you do that, by the way, to my boy Vooch, man, where you're not playing, you don't play, you see Vooch in the schedule, who's having an unbelievable year, by the way.
Vooch is actually having a quiet, great year for Chicago.
Yeah.
And would be a good sign and trade for. I know he has a contract that's pretty.
Well, he makes 20 a year at this point. Look at these Juan Soto numbers, man. 20's nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
20's the tip.
That's what he's getting after taxes.
What is this?
Yeah, fair point. That'd be a good, the Lakers need a big.
Yeah, but they want like a rim protecting big. They don't do like a Vooch. They had Marcus Gasol that one year with AD. That I don't think that worked out. Yeah. They want like the JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard big with.
Well, Dwight Howard's still available. He tweets at them once a week. You know what's crazy is Dwight would probably come in and actually help. That's the crazy thing. I know it's a circus and all that stuff, but like Dwight would probably be serviceable. If you give him like 6-7 minutes a half, he's a freak athlete. You probably could still go out there and rim contest and get some rebounds. No problems. Anyways, yeah, top 5 in the NBA. It's tough not to put Joel in there. I'd probably put Shea at 6. The tough thing is like right now, Shea is a top 5 player. But again, if we're counting the past couple of years, everything kind of, and I'm not going anything past 2 years. Past 2-3 years, present, and then even going forward in the future, number 1 by far is Nikola.
But like my issue is if this guy is that much of a gap between 1 and 2, and you only have one title in this area, and it isn't like
it is. But
does that make it tricky?
No, who's the second best? The best player he's ever played with is Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray's a fantastic player. No disrespect to Jamal Murray. Great player. But Jamal Murray's never been an all-star. That's the best player he's ever played with.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Joel Embiid has had I know Ben Simmons is whatever he is now. I don't know what that is, but he's still, at one point, Ben Simmons was very, very, very good.
Should have won Defensive Player of the Year one.
Yeah, should have. He definitely should have a Defensive Player of the Year award. But he had Ben Simmons. He had Jimmy Butler. He's had James Harden. Like, bro, he's had a plethora of guys, at least, that have been talented around him. Come on, man. Nikola Jokic had Jamal Murray. That's the best he's had. And he went and got one off the pure dominance of himself. Just took one. You know what I mean? Right now, the Nuggets are in the water, and it's just like splashing over their head, but they're just buoying above it just because they're all on this guy's shoulder. He is single-handedly just winning them games. He's literally doing too much. Last night and all these games only make it more clear to me that they are not a team that can win the whole thing. They are asking him. It reminds me of the last year I was with Denver. Jamal wasn't playing. He was hurt. And like, we were good. We beat teams, but we needed Nikola to be supersonic. Like every game, man. And like, we ran into the Suns, who at that time were very hot with Chris. Man, that's the year they went to the final. And they swept us. We just didn't have enough. We had just gotten over an emotional win, winning a series without Jamal versus Portland. We were very high in spirit. We go in Phoenix and just get our ass busted. And it was just like a wake-up call. The next year, they got that get back. But that was a different, that's when Jamal was back, et cetera, whatever. So that plays in the favor with Nikola. When people are like, he's won 4 if he wins again. He's won 4 MVPs, only 1 chip. Something's not right here. Brother, look at his team. By the way, Tim Connelly left. That'd be like Bob Myers in the middle of when Steph won 1 ring and like left another team. The puppet master behind the scenes putting together this great team for Nikola left and is now doing it for Ant. That's why the Timberwolves are set up the way they are, or they were until this recent trade. Just awful. But prior to that, Tim set them up. Tim built that Denver team and then left. It's only gone down ever since. No disrespect. As soon as Tim Connelly left the Nuggets, their team has gotten worse every year. It's just what it is. They won the year he left, but that's because he put that team in place already. Now that he's been out for a couple years, look, every year the Nuggets just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, and they got a couple tough contracts.
It comes down to the owner, though, not wanting to spend money, right? That's what it is.
Hey, listen, that's a different conversation. That's very true. That's a whole different
you get
conversation.
The Mets owner out there throwing out the $700 million contracts.
You signed 3 players.
We brought that up like 8 times on the podcast. I'm just going to keep bringing it over. I can't get over it.
Yeah, I can't get over it. I'm going to bring it up at least. There's going to be a couple times today where I look at that contract and like, I got to do better. It's a wake-up call. But no, yeah. And I think at this point, to get back, we talk about top 5 players right now. You go Nikola, you go Giannis, you go Luka. I would throw in Joel Embiid in there. And then you probably just throw in like who are we missing? A Shea, whatever. It's that group, right? The point being is Nikola's on his way to probably win another one. If they're able to be like a 5 seed.
It's too undeniable. So I was always saying that there's no way they're going to give it to him this year. With these numbers, there's no way they can't. I don't know. It'd be weird if they don't give it to him.
He's just playing better than everybody else.
The only thing I can think is if they're not in the playoffs.
That's the only thing he has against him. If if that team can figure out a way to be out of the play-in, if they can be 5 and above, he'll win.
Well, and even 6. He won it when you guys were the 6 seed.
Yeah, when we were 6 seed, he won.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook won as a 6 seed. It's going to be a very tricky conversation if he has these crazy numbers and they're like an 8 seed. I think that's going to be the talk of every basketball show.
He won't win.
But it's just going to be it's going to be very difficult.
What's going to happen is they're going to give the award to someone who might not have as strong of numbers, but the strong of numbers or the lack of strong of numbers comes at the expense or the reason behind it is them winning. Like Tatum will win. It's like Derrick Rose won that MVP because he didn't have the best numbers that year, but they had the number 1 seed in the East, and they were playing phenomenal, and he was the reason for that and the best player in that team. And we know his numbers could be increased more if he didn't have as much talent. That's what's going to happen with Tatum, in my eyes.
Because if Giannis is the 8th seed with Milwaukee and Jokic is the 8th seed in the West,
then Tatum gets it.
Tatum gets
a trophy. Yeah. Tatum is in line to win the MVP because like Shea's played well, but like their team, and he'll be in the race, but it's not as it's just not there as much as it was last year. The numbers, remember, he had like every game, and I think all games, he had 30 last year. Just a different year last year for him. He's having a fantastic year again, and OKC's a great team. So Shea's in the conversation as well, but it's not like last year. Luka and the Mavs are still figuring it out, and he's been up and down. He's been hurt. He's not in the conversation right now. Tatum's trophy is there for him to win the MVP, which would be a great story considering everything that happened this past summer. It's there for him, but it has to come at the loss of Giannis and Nikola's teams not being top. Bro, if the Bucks are 4, 5 and above, and Denver's 4 and 5 and above, I'll go 6, like you said. it's Nikola and Giannis. It's those two because they both are just playing due to their numbers. And again, that could be due to what they have to do for their team to win. Maybe Tatum could put up these type of numbers if he needed it. He don't need it because he has a great team. Regardless of the facts, that's a three-man race for me right now. It's Nikola, Giannis, Tatum. And if those two don't have a good team record, Tatum wins MVP.
So that would be a really cool story because last year his team being so good that he didn't get the credit. Maybe this year his team being so good he gets the MVP.
And he's due for it.
Yeah.
We've been the whole world's been giving him reasons of why he's not as good as what people think he is. It's about time that shit tips in his favor. Yeah. Good God. He's the best player in the best team in the league. What the fuck do you want him to do? You want him to go to a bad team and put up numbers? And then we're all like, well, let's loser basketball. That's what y'all do with like LaMelo. Right. LaMelo puts up like these numbers and they lose. You're like, oh, he doesn't know how to win. But he doesn't have no help. What are you talking about? He has like 3 good players on that team. Now Tatum's with a bunch of good players. Now we use it against him. It makes no fucking sense, man. It is what it is. I do think it'll tip in his favor, though. Just like it did with Derrick Rose in Chicago. They were number 1 seed. Were their players putting up better numbers than Derrick that year? They were in the MVP race? Sure. LeBron being one of them. But Derrick's team was number 1 in an East with a loaded Heat team that had LeBron and Wade and all these things. And this young guy was playing inspiring basketball and dunking and was exciting and MVP. They gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? I think Tatum can do something similar with Boston. 2 different type of players, but he's putting up great numbers, great team. They'll end up being the number 1 seed. And that is a reason for a player to win MVP. The only reason he loses this is because Nikola and Giannis's numbers are unbelievable. But their team success right now is up and down. They're like floating above water. Bucks are turning the corner. Nuggets, I don't know what that is yet.